Let's begin Airplane. Empire of the Sky, an original historical epic inspired by the disappearance of Amelia Earhart. When the world stopped hearing her voice on July 2, 1937, the ocean seemed to grow heavier. The radio transmission was faint, almost pleading, then gone. In that silence, newspapers wrote their obituaries, presidents offered condolences, and millions of people stared at the sky wondering how something so full of courage could simply vanish. For decades, that silence became history. But silence is never empty. It hides what we are not ready to hear. Jack Wilder had never believed in ghosts until he found one made of steel. The old hangar outside Los Angeles had belonged to his grandfather, Thomas Wilder, a man history never mentioned, though he had built engines that powered half the early Trans Pacific flights. When the hangar doors creaked open for the first time in 50 years, a wave of dust rose like memory returning to life. Jack was an aerospace engineer for NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. He dealt with data, numbers, systems that worked exactly as they were told. But standing there in the twilight of the abandoned hangar, surrounded by relics of propellers and copper wiring, he felt something entirely unscientific: anticipation. The floor was cluttered with crates stamped U.S. Navy, 1942, classified. His grandmother, before she passed away, had written a single cryptic note: "Jack, the truth of your grandfather is in the sky he built." That night, he pried open one of the crates. Inside, wrapped in oiled canvas, lay a metal cylinder no bigger than a briefcase. Its surface was etched with coordinates, a location in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and the letters A.E. Jack froze. Amelia Earhart. Every child in America knew her name, the woman who dared to circle the world when women were told to stay home. The pilot who smiled at the edge of heaven and never returned. But why would her initials be engraved on a classified Navy artifact locked away by his grandfather? He lifted the cylinder. It was heavier than it looked. When he pressed a small latch, a hiss escaped, and the lid loosened with a metallic sigh. Inside lay a stack of glass reels and a folded letter sealed with wax. The letter read, "To the finder of this capsule, the truth of Amelia Earhart's final flight lies not at sea, but in the clouds. We built something the world was not ready to see. T.W. Thomas Wilder." Jack's pulse quickened. His grandfather had been part of something larger, something erased from history. He unrolled a blueprint from the crate. It was a schematic of Earhart's Lockheed Electra, but unlike any preserved in aviation museums. This version contained hidden compartments beneath the fuselage, and beneath the label "Auxiliary Fuel Tanks" was another designation: Sky Glass Array. Jack had never heard of that term, but a note scrolled in the margin caught his eye. Signal Reflection Experiment, Confidential, Naval Intelligence, 1936. Signal reflection. That meant radar. But radar technology wasn't officially invented until years later. Could Amelia Earhart's final flight have been part of a secret military test? He didn't sleep that night. At dawn, he searched declassified archives online, digging through forgotten naval projects. Most were redacted, but one fragment surfaced. Project Skyglass, approved November 36, Commanding Officer J. Bollard. His hands trembled. The date matched her flight preparations. Suddenly, the story of a daring woman lost in the ocean started to sound like something else: a mission. By the following week, Jack had packed his gear and booked a berth on a private maritime research vessel. Its route passed near Nicumaroro Island, one of the many suspected crash sites. He told no one why he was going. Beneath the tropical sun, the Pacific stretched endless and innocent. But 180 feet below, the ocean floor kept its archive. The team's sonar detected a metallic anomaly, small, compact, shaped like an aircraft component.
When the divers reached it, they found a sealed pod covered in coral and stamped faintly with the words Electra Unit 2B, property of U.S. Navy.
Inside the pod were film reels, sealed canisters, and a fragment of cockpit glass etched with the serial number of Amelia Earhart's plane. Back on deck, Jack used portable equipment to view the film. It flickered into life, granny black and white, the cockpit of the Electra visible. Amelia sat at the controls, her face illuminated by a strange glow. She was speaking. "We're receiving reflections, multiple returns. There's something up there, higher than clouds." The footage trembled. In the corner of the frame, a luminous shape hovered, distant yet defined. Not another aircraft, not a cloud. Then, static, a blinding flash, and her voice again. "If anyone finds this, tell them the sky remembers." The reel ended abruptly.